Hi, Shell.
And hello to all you other wonderful weirdos watching.
Would anybody believe me after ranting a little too passionately about my dislike? Would anybody believe me if I read a romance and enjoyed it? Uh, Anybody? I don't know. So this week, I want to talk about This Is How You Lose a Time War. This is a sci-fi. Judging by how it is sci-fi, I would class it as like a hard-ish sci-fi. Not that it's like difficult, but it's just like this is a full-blown time war, and how they are just like easily just shifting through, and they even like change their shape. These entities that I think are like trillions of years in the future, humans' evolution. I don't know. It's never said, but they do have elements from humans' history in here, and they're just like going back and forth and up and down. I believe the term dancing up the thread, up and down the threads, were used several times, and on top of that, there's multiple threads, so there's multiple streams of time. So it's like multiversal because there's so many Atlantises, and all of them deserve to sink. Is the joke in one of these stories, because it always sinks. It and they get and the our protagonists, they don't like Atlantis. It always sinks. The setting is up and down time, different threads, different moments in these time threads, and the time war itself. So we have Garden and we have the Commandant. Garden is a very slow, methodical, planning things out and like the long play, and will put somebody into a thread and let them grow their little plan. And the Commandant is more like bombastic, in the moment, get this done now type of thing. And I think the best way to describe it, because of what we've been getting from Red's point of view, is Commandant side is very techno heavy and individualistic, whereas Garden is very more natural and together. So it's like a plant versus a fawn type of thing. So it's like nature versus technology, maybe, but it's never explicitly said. It's just woven through how it's been discussed through our protagonists. And I think this is done so well. The world building without world building, kind of. So the world building without there being a world, quite interesting actually, because you don't know where you're at in any given moment. It is fascinating, and you could do so much with this. The setting is complex, the story is simple, and it was done beautifully. So beautifully. The simple concept done really well. Ooh. The story itself is kind of like Romeo and Juliet, because you got these two entities from opposite sides of this war, and they're just like bonding. They are bonding. The blurb basically says Red and Blue, two rival agents hell bent on securing the best possible future for their warring factions, strike up an unlikely correspondence. But what started as a taunt, a battlefield boast, grows into something more, something epic and romantic, something that could change the past and the future. The discovery of their bond will mean their deaths. So, Red wins a battle. She has standing amongst a victory, and she finds a letter. She finds a letter from Blue. So she would have been quite, yay, I won a war, and then I find a letter going, oh, my enemy, my rival, has done something to about this particular battle that I did not foresee, and I now have given them something. Yay. dang it. The first few times these two just like send letters is so cheeky, so like, haha, you thought you win. I actually got here so much earlier and did this. It's kind of gave me like that Doctor Who special episode that isn't actually canon because it was Rowan Atkinson who and the Master where, oh yeah, I foresaw you do this, so I went back in time even further and did this. Aha, so I went back in time even further because I knew you were going to do that, and I undo that. It kind of reminded me about that, where they kept on having to like outmaneuver the other person just by going back in time a little bit further and just like undoing the thing. I'm pretty sure one of them was just like trying to infect some doctor in a hospital, and then the other was just like, I'm just gonna put that doctor on a nice little cruise or something, like out of the way, but just in case you think you're gonna like infect somebody else with that thing, I'm just gonna put a bomb threat and evacuate the entire hospital so you don't have that chance. And it's just so funny how they're just like, yeah, no, I saw through that. And oh my god, it got so funny and so cheeky. I love those two. Amazing. Oh, like they were even cheeky in how they were addressing each other because they had like nicknames for each other when they were starting the Dear Red. It wasn't Dear Red, it was Dear Red in Tooth in Claw. My most insidious blue. Look on my words, ye mighty and despair. And then we get a hilarious Dearest Blue Dabadi. It's so funny. And just having these two just bond because they were just like outdoing each other, and then the bond just grows from cocky, hey, I outdid you, to fondness and book recommendations and going, oh yeah, could you write to me in London? Yeah. And how it even got a little tense when Blue is at a cafe, and as she's getting served her tea, she has to like force herself to stay still because in order for Red to deliver the letter, she would have just been there. And she's trying desperately to stay calm and poised and not give anything away, that nothing is up. Nobody can see that anything is up, but she could go run and catch Red and it'd all be over. And no, she just like drinks her tea and reads the letter. Also, the letters aren't always physical pieces of paper. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not, but sometimes it's written in the weave of cloth, sometimes it's the boiling of water, like in the steam or something, in binary code. A glass jar of water boils in an MRI machine in defense of Proverbs. Blue watches it. And then there's like a letter hidden in the sound of bones clattering in a wind chime or something close to a wind chime, because it's just ingenious ways of having written a letter. Like one is written in feathers even. Also, this story is so beautiful. I started underlining again. Words can wound, but they're bridges too. Though maybe a bridge can also be a wound. To paraphrase a prophet, letters are structures, not events. Yours give me place to live inside. Also, these entities, they kind of do this thing where they just, not only do they dance up and down the threads, but they can play in 6 dimensions, a game of chess in which every piece is a game of Go. So these are very complex creatures, and they appear humanoid and doing the thing. Also, page 109 is absolutely beautiful. Just the start of this chapter is just Blue is braiding grasses between her fingers, and it is just like a beautiful start to a chapter. Just writing, absolutely phenomenal. I love it. Yeah, it's just like she lays grass over grass over grass and studies not only the geometries of green, but the calculus of scent and heat, and the thermodynamics of understory, and the velocity of bird song. It's just so interesting just how these creatures work as well. Also, I just like this. I just underlined a quick snippet. She was gonna I think part of her life, she's part of a culture that learns weaving from birds' nests. That is actually a very interesting concept, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So I was all for these two bonding. They hold it off brilliantly. Because I don't know how the authors, because this is a dual authorship, Amal El-Mohtar and Max Gladstone, they both wrote this. I don't know if what they took turns in each chapter and just like sent it back, but it was brilliantly done. Each has their own voice. Blue has a different voice to Red, and it was brilliant. Just the way these two went about concocting this relationship bond, this relationship and how it developed, and it was beautiful. And because they're in opposite sides, if they get discovered, the first time Red opened that letter, she would have been called compromised and been killed. If either of them get caught by their bigger forces, they they're gonna be done for. And there was even that, and what conflict can arise except that at the end? But just how the ending unfolded was just nerve wracking and heartbreaking. And I cried my eyes out. I was sobbing. Oh my god. And I was just like, I swear, if this is actually a Romeo and Juliet ending, I'm going to be pissed. I got so invested in these two. And then a few pages went by and I started feeling more confident in that. Like, I'd be fine if it was. I felt if it was a Romeo and Juliet ending, I would be fine with that. Like, the writing made me want them to succeed, and if they didn't, I'd be pissed. But then the writing just, like, if it ends that way, I'd be fine. I'd be content. It was a brilliant story. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but whew. Hell, even Blue in one of the ends was just like watching a Shakespeare play, and even that was Romeo and Juliet. If Blue were a scholar, she has played one enough times to know she would have loved to be. She would catalogue across all strands a comprehensive study of worlds in which Romeo and Juliet is a tragedy and in which a comedy. It delights her, whenever visiting a new strand, to take in a performance, not knowing how it will end. So, even in these different strands, the ending of Romeo and Juliet is different. Even Blue is just like, she taps out like 10 minutes before the end of this performance, going, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I can't watch this ending. If this is a tragedy, I'm going to be pissed. So even Blue was in the same boat as me, going, I don't want a tragedy right now. And it's just like, oh, but yeah, I was crying as it started building to that potential ending, and I was just like, please don't do this to me, please don't do this to me. But I started coming to terms with it, and even after it ended, I was left wanting more. The story wrapped up beautifully. This is a 5 star out of 5 star. This is 100 out of 10. I love this book and I want more of it. But the story is concrete. It is solid. If you get any more, it will probably ruin it. It was brilliantly done, brilliantly constructed. I love it to bits. But because I was wanting more, I started rereading it immediately. I'm literally like that far through to my I'm like so close to the end of my second reread. It's just like, also, people will say that you can get through this quite quickly. I did not get through this quickly because I thought it was so beautiful that I read a chapter which is like the environment in which the letter is found and then the letter itself. So we get a bit of blue and a bit of red, and I was able to sit with that and absorb it and just like marinate in what I've just read, and it was beautiful. And then I would go back to it. I took my time with this book because I loved it. It was beautifully written. I enjoyed the world buildings. I just enjoyed being wherever they were, and I enjoyed their letters. I enjoyed their time. I want to read it again and again and again. But when I got to the point where they had to deal with, well, fallout of potentially getting caught, I read to the end. I needed them to be okay. I needed them to be okay. And without spoiling it, read it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Please read. Oh, I read this because not only people in the fantasy and sci-fi part of BookTube were raving about this book, but also people who aren't in that side of BookTube were ranting about this book, because I'm pretty sure when big booktubers like Daniel Green is talking about it and big booktubers like Jack Edwards are like raving about this book, they are two different spectrums of booktube. They are both saying this is like brilliant book. I was intrigued and I found this in a charity shop. I finally got the sticker off. I'm freaking loving it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I could probably find myself rereading it again after this one. Just I don't want it to. It's too beautiful. I love it. Can you believe I like a romance? Maybe because it's a sci-fi. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why. Oh, just stick a romance in a sci-fi and I'll be fine. But I just wanted to gush over this book. This is so good. I love it. It's so good. Oh my god. So, this is How You Lose a Time War. It was epic. Definitely worth a read. If you see it, maybe pick it up. I highly recommend it. I am left wanting more, but I know it's a complete story and it's perfect as it is. I will 100% be keeping this on my bookshelf forever, just to like pick up, dip back into and reread whenever I want, because it is gorgeous and I love it. I just needed to gush over that. No, it's not like me to gush over a romance, but here I am, gushing over a romance. What can I say? But yeah, so that's this week's video. Bye, Shell.
And bye to all you other wonderful weirdos watching.
Bye bye.